Welcome back to Digital Connections. As you all know by now, we bring in expert advice to connect you with the services and resources to build a successful business and ultimately to create the life of your dreams. This show is for entrepreneurs, business owners, and anyone with a side hustle to their current 9 to 5. One episode at a time, we help you build a successful business through amazing digital connections. I'm your host, Nancee Johnson, a business owner and digital marketer. On my way here, I have found amazing resources that have helped me and my business grow, and they can help your business thrive too. Everyone needs a friend in digital marketing because digital marketing is about connecting people. So, my friends, today we are talking about your health. What? I hear you saying right now. What has that got to do with building an awesome business? Come on now, you know the answer. It's all connected. If you're not doing good, ultimately your business is going to suffer. Unless you have someone else running your business, and most small business owners and entrepreneurs that I know do not have that luxury. So taking care of your health is just as important as calling back your customers and paying your taxes. Because if you stop doing either, you're not going to have a business for long. It's also the cheapest alternative to expensive healthcare scenarios like extended hospital stays and overpriced doctor visits, which your business neither has the time nor money for. But speaking of time and money, this is exactly why I've invited our next guest, PJ Glassey, founder of XGym. XGym is the home of the 21-minute workout done just twice a week for fast and safe fitness results. PJ developed this innovative methodology as a biohacker to get people fit and toned faster without the bulk of traditional training, while still offering all the strength and endurance results of longer workouts. His members are busy people who want brain and body fitness they can use in the real world to enjoy life while looking and feeling fit and healthy. Full disclosure here, I am a member of XGym and I work out online with PJ 2 days a week. PJ is here because the results that I have gotten have had a direct impact on my business and my stress levels. And I think this is one resource that every business owner cannot afford to be without. PJ, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us what this 21-minute workout is and what is a time hack?
Yeah, so it's just a 21-minute workout per session, and it's twice a week. So 42 minutes a week, and it's full body functional training. So it has practical application out there in the real world, like, with hiking and biking and doing fun stuff. And it's super hard, but it's super safe too, because high intensity training usually means a high rate of injury because people think, of big heavy weights and ballistic reps and kip ups and you know burpees and all those things, but it's totally not that. It's more like a very controlled motion, time under tension kind of principles. And so when you hear the word hack, you're usually thinking like a computer hacker that gets in the back door and figures out a way to do something, get in. Well, this is kind of a way to get in the back and hack fitness and health and to find shortcuts and breakthroughs, really. And that's what a time hack is for this, because it's just 21 minutes twice a week. And over the last couple decades since we've been doing this, we have found with our own data that 42 minutes a week is equivalent to about 7 hours of traditional training.
Wow.
So that's what makes it such a huge time hack, because you're getting strength and endurance all in the same workout instead of separate workouts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, how did you find it, or how did you come up with it?
Well, actually, it started back in college when I was getting my degree in exercise science. And part of our project, of course, was lots of research papers because it's a science degree. So, in fact, a lot of the students would use exercise science as pre-med because XP didn't have a pre-med program, but that fulfilled all the science requirements.
Hmm.
And so we did a lot of research papers. And when I first went to our library on campus to find the periodicals on exercise science, I found like 5. And oh, this must be a super lame library. So I went to the, downtown Seattle, the big one, and they had like 6. And so I went back to my professor and I said, hey, what's the deal? I must be really bad at the Dewey Decimal System or something, because I'm only finding 6 exercise periodicals and I'm kind of ashamed to even admit that. And he goes, yeah, that's all there are. And I go, what? And because this was back in the 80s, and he goes, we're pioneers, because nobody until now, nobody really cared, because in the 70s, people were fit and thin and it wasn't a big deal. And then,
Uh-huh.
so it was just a brand new field. So
Wow.
like, wow, that got me really excited to, be a pioneer.
Hmm.
So I set out to develop a new methodology, because another thing I discovered in my studies is that sets and reps, the way most people are doing exercise, was invented in 1891. And that's pretty outdated. I figure, well, there's got to be some better stuff that somebody's come up with since then. So I just dug into it and found that there really wasn't. People were just still doing it, and nobody knew
Right.
better. Yeah,
Never ending reps.
I know. And most people still are doing that. And so I just said, well, I'm going to change that. And so I took my 6 periodicals and I subscribed to all of them, and then newsletters of other people that were experts in the field, and picked people's brains and got in all the research papers. And so I set out to develop a methodology, an exercise system for busy people, because I was, graduating, and I knew I'd be busy and with the real job and stuff. And, there's people have their job and they have their kids and they have all their other, responsibilities and things. And that's busy. And so people don't have time to do traditional training, because it is very time consuming. So I wanted to solve that problem for the busy people. But I also wanted it to be safe, because busy people, the biggest part of the busy people bell curve is 40 to 70 years old. Those are the most productive years of your life, and those are where people are the most busy with their careers and family and all that kind of stuff. So those people also want a safe program.
Mm-hmm.
And those people have also outgrown the whole I want to get jacked phase. And
Yeah.
so they don't want to get big anymore and bulky and all shredded and ripped. And so I wanted to develop a system that could make them look and feel fit and be fit. So be like a fit person, but not like a bodybuilder person.
Mm.
So no time, want more safety, don't want the bulk. And so those are the 3 things that I wanted to set out to do with the research that I was reading. And so then, and when I graduated, I was a trainer, for a one-on-one trainer, mostly in people's homes, for about 10 years. And I was using them as guinea pigs from the research I was reading to try experiments. Of course, they thought it was fun because, it's new stuff. And,
Mm-hmm.
and it kept the time kept coming down and safety going up. And the fitness the results were amazing. And so, of course, they're all telling their friends and family. And so 10 years later, I was just too busy. I had to scale myself. And by that time, I had developed 7 methods and 21 splinter techniques. And so I opened up the XGym, had trainers, and scaled myself. And then we also developed brain hacks, because the physical thing was one thing, but then there's mental blocks and things for people. So
Mm-hmm.
then I came up with the brain hacks to accelerate the results, because before I was an exercise science major, before I switched to that, I was a psych major. And so that's another one of my passions. And so put the brain training and the brain hacks in there as well to help people. And then that's what we have now today.
I was kind of curious about how the brain hacks came around, because you do a great job of incorporating them into a 21-minute workout. So is there, when we talk about, and I think that goes back to you being a biohacker, right?
Yeah.
What is a biohacker exactly? I think a lot of our listeners probably don't know exactly what that is.
Yeah, a biohacker is someone who uses science and technology to get fitter and healthier, to hack shortcuts to get their health and fitness faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so scientific psychology means science is being the research studies, technology being, gizmos and gadgets and electric stim. And bless my wife, she puts up with it, because I've got gizmos and gadgets everywhere. and some of them are amazing, and some of them are kind of, gathering dust. Oh, I didn't work out so great. But she lets me spend disposable income on that and without questioning it, because, she knew she married that. And so, but my passion is just to try to keep finding new shortcuts for my people.
Mhm.
And that would be XGym people, of course, and friends and family and people on social that follow me. And so just trying to help as many people as I can. And then, so that's the biohacker part. And then the brain hacker part came about. It's another story where my mom was diagnosed in the year 2000 with early onset Alzheimer's. Now, back then, we didn't know enough to help her. So she passed in 2005. But in 1998, when my sister and I knew really we had diagnosed her prior to the official one, because it was obvious. I just dove into the brain research. I already knew how to read research studies because of my exercise science degree, and I already was doing my experiments with my clients. But so I was very familiar with the language and everything. So I funneled my energy into that. And like I said, back then we didn't know enough, to really help people. Now we do.
Yeah.
And so I have a whole post on it now and I even do talks on it, helping people even reverse dementia, because we know that's possible now. But all the brain research came about and culminated in using a lot of these things to help people without dementia. And because it's just brain health is awesome, and it's overall health. And a lot of it is woven into the XGym methodology now, with crossover movement patterns and functional motions and controlled methods and focused concentration, time under tension, complete muscle fatigue, customized brain training techniques for people, individualized from a brain training or a brain type test that I developed from all this. And then the end result, of course, being they need less willpower because, they've hacked their own brain. They're easy to break bad habits and form new habits. And so that the biohacker stuff and the brain research stuff, and, thanks Mom for getting me into this. And it all came together to just be a really beautiful thing that just takes 42 minutes a week.
Amazing. That's awesome. So we've talked a bit about brain hacks, but I imagine that you have other health hacks too, then, considering all your research and everything that you do. I imagine there are some other ones.
Yes, I've come up with lots of those because health really is the number one goal for us and our clients and members at XGym. People come, even the ones that come to us and say, hey, I want to get jacked, I want to get that six pack, and I want to get shredded. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But how's your health? And how can we help you with that? Because when someone reaches optimal health, they're happy, they're way more productive, their brain is clear, and they can enjoy life more. And guess what? All the excess weight is gone, because an optimally healthy body doesn't need to carry that around. And so that's how kind of we attack it. And then, so people most of our members, of course, come to us initially wanting to lose weight. And we can help them with that, because as we help them get healthy, they get lighter and lighter as they get healthier and healthier without even trying to lose weight or, diet per se or anything like that. So I guess that's kind of another hack. But all these experiments and methods and protocols and splinter techniques and brain training stuff has all been tried through a process. So we're even scientific about that. I try it on myself first, and then friends and family who won't sue me. And then longtime members, they're also really close friends by that time. And then it's, approved. And then we can try it on other people, and then we see if it's going to be better than one of the techniques that we have already. So our program consistently and constantly evolves and gets better with time with that kind of methodology.
And so then I suppose there are nutrition hacks then as well.
Yes, lots of nutrition hacks. And basically it's kind of the same as the health hacks. And these will sound simple, but not everything that's simple is always easy, right?
Right.
So that's where the brain hacks come in to make it easier. But what we've found with research and with our own experiments is that doing mini habits, there's even a book called Mini Habits. It's a great book, but doing mini habits is the best way to get started and keep going.
Mm.
And of course, brain training along the way to help you rewire your brain so you need less willpower along the way. But as far as like health stuff goes, is another cool technique is to ask yourself questions. And one of the main questions is this healthy? So if you're eating something, as it's coming to your mouth, just, is this healthy? Because there's lots of really delicious healthy foods. And there's also really delicious unhealthy foods. So you can ask yourself that question. And if it's not healthy, well, why am I eating this? And then you ask, okay, why is that? And then ask, why is that? Why is that? And keep asking why until you can't answer it anymore. And then you have your real reason why you're eating that. And it's neither good or bad. And it should not be a judgment question and answer time. It should just be exploring, because that's what biohackers do. And it's an experiment, and you're exploring yourself, your body, your mind, your intentions. Where is this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how you can change it. It's not, otherwise it's just a huge willpower struggle, and it's just a force of will, and that we all know how long that lasts.
Right.
But then
Right.
other things like sleep.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of hacks to improve your sleep quality and time, which makes everything better. Nutrition, exercise, productivity, mental clarity, all that stuff. And then meditation, relaxation, those kinds of techniques and practices are really easy to do. And then thinking the way of the samurai, a little bit better every day. The ancient principle. And then if you have days where you go backwards and you're worse, that's okay. Leave it behind you and just move forward. And because it's about progress, not perfection. The human being is notorious for expecting perfection. And then they're disappointed. And if you think about every time you're disappointed, it's always because something didn't match an expectation. Either the expectation was too high because you set it too high, or someone else set an expectation they didn't live up to, or you set an expectation for them that maybe you didn't have, that they didn't live up to. And it's all about expectations. So when we're trying to be perfect, we're expecting ourselves to be perfect. And so of course we're going to be disappointed in ourselves constantly. And that's not a great way to make progress. So it's just thinking progress, not perfection, and see if you can do a little bit better every day.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things. And same thing for nutrition. It's little tiny steps. The first one I recommend for people is drink more water. And most people, 80% or more, are walking around dehydrated chronically and clinically every day. And Joey, talk about a productivity hack. Just that one alone, people are more successful in their business, have more energy, mental clarity, all these things. Because this is what we're talking about, for business. And people are exhausted all the time, and they don't know why. And they can't be as productive, and they don't know why. And they just think, well, this just must be me. But it's not. It can be some hacks that you just haven't figured out yet. So you're really trying to be your own biohacker and do your own experiments and ask questions and trying to figure it out. And the water definitely is the number one, because we're 70% water.
Yeah.
And we need that main ingredient in a little bit of an excess even. And so then people ask me, well, how much? And I say, well, take your body weight in pounds, divide it in half, and that's how many ounces you should drink. And so for people who are like 100 to 250 pounds, that's a perfect formula. For people over 250, maybe that would be too much water. And people under 100, maybe that's too little. But most people are, around in that range-ish. And so that's usually a pretty good formula. And then the next step is I tell people to reduce processed foods, because there's so many poisons and chemicals and things in processed foods that cloud your brain and zap your energy. It might give you energy short term, give you a little boost. And so your subconscious brain is reinforced. And so, yeah, that's an energy thing. But long term, you crash even lower than before you ate it or drank it. So I tell people, for health and productivity, just get off that processed food, but wean yourself over time, because nobody can really go cold turkey, because then it's a big, huge willpower struggle. And we all know how that goes.
Yeah.
Then the next step is to start cutting down on sugar and starches.
Mm-hmm.
because that's not doing anything for your brain, and the other food is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next step is go organic. And by then, when you've done all those steps, you don't even need a diet because you're eating right. And there's your diet, but it's a lifestyle instead of, some kind of diet. Some brain types do actually need a very stringent diet to stick with.
Mm-hmm.
But most people, if they just kind of take it in steps and do this kind of methodology in this order, then it works out great.
It's like mindfulness training, like, okay, just kind of think about it, and the
Yeah,
more you think about it, the more you're like, hey, that's not really cool. I don't need that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Uh-huh.
people aren't thinking about it. They're
Mm-hmm.
doing automatic habits, and they're bad habits,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't even know that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I think all of this. So early on in my introduction, I mentioned that this workout can help with stress, but I did want to interject my experience here because it was really powerful for me, because I was really surprised how my management of stress changed after, I think it was about the fourth workout or so. In fact, it was automatic and I didn't even realize I was doing it until I was chatting with you on one of our workout sessions, and I realized that I had transferred what I was learning in my workout with you every day to my everyday life. And it sounds like that's kind of a fairly common occurrence for a lot of your clients. Can you tell
Yeah.
me a little bit more about why that is and how
Mhm.
that comes about?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a sympathetic nervous system where, we're controlling it, and that's our fight or flight when we get stressed out, and, we go into fight or flight mode. And then there's the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, where you can just chill and get out of that mode. And when we're in fight or flight, we're tense. And, it's usually the traps that most people get tensed up. And, but because of this constant tension, especially the soft tissues, muscles, will bring in some of that tension and actually store it. And that's why when some people are at a deep tissue massage therapist, they'll start laughing and they don't know why, because
Oh,
something's being released out of there. Or they'll cry and they don't know why. And the same thing happens at the X gym. It's rare, but sometimes they'll be like, well, I don't know why I'm laughing. And maybe it's a coping mechanism because their muscles are burning, but usually, or crying, and usually it's because they're getting stuff out, just like a deep tissue massage, because we're getting real deep into those muscles, and that stuff is getting squeezed out and released, and it's coming out. And so what we tell them is, hey, just go with it. Keep laughing or keep crying, and let's get some of that out too, because that's going to be awesome. So that's just one part of it. But the other part is the fight or flight training, because at the end of every exercise, there's 20 or 30 seconds that's really intense. And so at that point, you're actually activating fight or flight. And we talk about fight or flight being a bad thing, and it is when it's extended all day, every day,
mm,
but it's not when it's a short burst. And that's what it was designed for, to get us away from lions and tigers and bears.
mm-hmm.
What do you think to say right after I say that? Oh
Oh
my.
my.
And so, and it's very effective to get us away from the predators. And it's only supposed to last 20 or 30 seconds, because after 20 or 30 seconds, we have either gotten away or it's over because we're being eaten. Either way, it's over. And so it's not supposed to be a drawn out thing, because then it becomes unhealthy. It's not a resource anymore. And
Mm,
now it's affecting us and continuing to pump out the cortisol and the other hormones and chemicals that help us get away from tigers. But in a long term, it's breaking us down, because it's not supposed to be. It's an overdose of those hormones and chemicals.
mm,
So you've probably noticed that as soon as we finish an exercise, when I say done, or whatever trainer, then you're like, automatically, you exhale and you go, I'm so glad we're done. Well, it's
yeah.
the same exact escape from fight or flight as you got away from the lion. Oh, I'm so glad I got away. Same thing. And so it's necessarily automatically fight flight training. And so it teaches people how to get in and out because it reminds them what it feels like. And so then when they're on their Zoom call and they're some sort of stress or whatever, then they can recognize the feeling of being in it, which most people don't even know they're in it. And
Mm-hmm.
then they know how to get out, and they can. And then they can
Mm-hmm.
turn it off and then be healthier that way, cut down on those cortisol and all the hormones that can be fattening, actually make it way harder to lose fat. And so it's a strategy for health, weight loss, and all that kind of stuff too.
Mm-hmm. And it for me, I think it helped me like clear up my mind. Like I feel like I deal with situations a lot differently because of that clarity, right? And being able
Yeah.
to just have that functionality of, okay, I know exactly what I need to do now, and if I don't, I'll figure it out. All right, here we go. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're describing is being in your prefrontal cortex and out of your amygdala, because when you're trapped in there, fight or flight and stress, you are just reacting. You're like an animal, you're just reacting to your world. But when you're in your PFC, you can think logically, you can make
Mm-hmm.
good decisions, you can think into the future, you can simulate stuff into the future and simulate scenarios. And so because the workout is so focused, it's like meditation in a way. And so the PFC can be like a muscle where when we exercise it, it gets stronger. So during the workout, because of the focus, we're bringing you into your PFC. So then when we're done, you're there instead of
Mm-hmm.
back here. And now you're thinking clearly, but also we've just given it some reps. And so it's stronger now. So the next time you want to get into it and use it and be more productive and think clearly, you can, because it's more accessible.
Mm-hmm. Ah, okay. It's all making sense now. Okay. So speaking of stress though, so tell me how things are going with in a COVID world owning a gym.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because we have been extremely blessed. So back in 2017, we started doing online training, and it was really good timing. And, I tell people constantly, God must have been looking out for us years ago, because he got us into this online training thing when everybody else was like, oh, I don't know, that seems weird, I don't know if you should be doing that. But I like doing new stuff and jumping into new stuff. So I wanted to do that. And so we took that leap. And so when this whole COVID thing came around and we were shut down, we were already doing tons of online training. So we had a big arm where we had a bunch of clients that were just only online already. And then all of our members at the Eastside Club knew we did it, and we did it with them often when they were on trips and stuff. And so that everybody's familiar with it. So we were easily able to pivot. And we still took a hit because some of our members just still they couldn't. I mean, some people just can't do online training because they don't have the space in their home, even though it only takes enough space to lie down and do a snow angel. That's all the space you need for our style, and no equipment either. But still, they couldn't do it, because the kids are running around or whatever the reason. And some people they don't like to work out on their own. They want to separate the lives and go to the gym. So that's why we took a hit still, but not nearly as much as the other gyms, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
And we're already set up with our gym for social distancing, which we were kind of doing already because it's a big, long gym. We keep everything really small.
Mm-hmm.
We have this enormous HVAC system, way overbuilt. So I just rerouted it so it's not doing any recirculated air anymore. It's pulling it all from the outside, and it's blowing like crazy. So it feels like we're outside in there.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it with our humidifiers because it's just blowing sideways because there's so much air movement in there.
Mm.
And we were already clean freaks. We already were never crowded because we're a small studio. We're one-on-one training. There's never more than 2 members in there, and the whole gym, usually 1 or 2. And then the small group training is 10 or less, always was. And so we're like, oh, we were already set up for this. This is easy. It's always by appointment. So yeah, it must have had to be divine, because I couldn't have planned it out that well myself, even if I knew this was coming.
Have you gotten any like extension from being online primarily during COVID? Have you found that you've gotten more clients because of that, like people that maybe couldn't have come to the gym previously?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the other funny thing is the members that we had who did not want to do online training, even when they were traveling, they just go, oh, that's just not my thing, for whatever reason. When they were forced into it, they're like, oh, actually, this is really cool. And some of them are like, well, even now that we're open, they're like, yeah, but I think I want to keep doing this because it's so convenient, even if they live just 5 minutes away.
Right.
Yeah. And some are hybrid members. They'll come in sometimes and they'll be home sometimes and they'll just tell us, what they want to do. And it's easy for us to pivot. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of funny to see that.
I love using my own shower. It's great after my
Yeah, I
workout.
know.
Just right across the hall. Thanks.
Right.
Oh
For
man. Well, do you have a vision for your business then? Has this actually extended that vision? What does that look like?
Yeah, more online training.
Mm-hmm.
I want to expand that. And then also our trainer certification, because we're actually looking for 2 more trainers because we're so busy
Oh,
right now.
nice. Mm-hmm.
And we certify our own trainers because we have our own methodology. So trainers don't need to come to us certified. All we look for is people who are already living the fitness lifestyle and the health lifestyle, and they want to help others with that. And then we certify and train them on our methodology all in-house. But we want to do that more online too, because we want to have more online trainers as well, all over the world. We also have an app already that we've had for several years, which helped too for this whole transition. And it's a phone app, so people can do our exercises and routines and things on that, with me demonstrating the exercises and me doing the verbal coaching. So it feels like they're being watched, because 30 years of doing this, I know what people are doing at certain points in the exercise. And so then I can coach them timing wise kind of on that. So developing more of the app, and then the brain training and the brain type test, which is a huge help for people, which we already have available for anyone to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then people ask me, oh, you should franchise this and have more locations. And I'm like, I'm not really into the multiple gym thing, but if someone came along and they wanted to take that on 100% and help me with that and just do that, it's fine, but it's just not my thing.
Mm.
So for me, my future vision, unless someone like that comes along, it's more of a, continue with what we got going with the gym. That's also a lab, and then keep doing the app, keep doing the online training, and get more trainers and just kind of grow that way.
Nice. Nice. Well, I'll start looking out for new trainers for you. I had no idea you were looking, so that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So, if people wanted to, oh, well, actually, I was going to ask you, did you have any additional tips for folks to navigate the stress that they're experiencing?
Yeah. So change is stress, and good Lord, we have had a lot of change in the
Yeah.
last year. And so people are stressed, and most people that are really stressed don't even know they're stressed. Some
Mhm.
people can handle it better than other people. So my generation, the X generation, has gained about 20 pounds during this whole year because of the stress. But the younger generation, the millennials and Z gens, have gained about 40.
Wow.
Because, yeah, and it's because they don't know how to mitigate stress as well as the older people that have, had more years under their belt, which I found surprising, when I saw that research come out. But so fight or flight training is very
Mhm.
important for this, because most people don't know that they're stuck in fight flight.
Mm.
And a great way to do that is to do some breathing exercises.
Mhm.
And it's actually way easier than a lot of people give it credit for, because there's all sorts of super complicated breathing techniques out there. But I just tell people, just do timed breath. Just breathe in through your nose to a certain count and breathe out through your mouth to a certain count, and just focus on the timing and focus on how the breath feels inside your nose coming in, outside as in your lips is just coming out. It's colder coming in and warmer coming out. Just notice stuff like that. And then it's meditation. It's also breathing. It's doing everything at the same time. And if you don't know if you're caught in fight or flight, or you don't know how to recognize it yet, just changing your state can be enough. And easy way to do that is just changing your posture. So when people are stressed and focused, especially now that we're at the desk so much, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And we're on a keyboard, we're doing this. We get this forward head posture kind of going on. We're hunching forward. We're putting stress on all those muscles. And then we get in a car and we do this. It hasn't changed from this to this. Keyboard, steering wheel.
Yeah. And your neck is kind of, you're compressing your neck, whether you know it or not. It's just kind of sitting down into your body almost.
Yeah, our head's the weight of a bowling ball. And when you do 2 inches this way, that's a lot of stress on that soft tissue.
Yeah.
And the vertebrae. So
yeah,
just changing your posture can be enough to change your state. But also having a perspective, because this country is the most affluent country in the world. We have it the best of any country on the planet, but we complain the most. Basically, we're spoiled brats, right? And I put myself in that group. And so we just need to have perspective that our problems are first world problems. So on my worst day, 9 out of 10 people on this planet would literally give their right arm to change places with me, to have my problems on my worst day, because that would be way better than their best day.
Yeah.
And they would have I'm not kidding, they would cut their arm off to trade places with me. That's how bad they would want my problems.
Yeah.
And so it's good to have that perspective. And then also just thinking of those people and other people, just giving to others. We don't do that enough in this country either.
Yeah.
And then to get outside into the dirt and the nature, and to get some sun and to get some air, and go in the woods, get in the trees, because they're air filters and they're absorbing EMFs, and get up in the mountains where the air is cleaner, and just get out, because we're stuck. For a year, we've been stuck inside, and we've been in our desk, and we're eating comfort food to try to mitigate our stress. And
I think that's a great reminder for small business owners and entrepreneurs, especially because we just get so into what we're doing and we're the only ones, right? We're the primary people running our business, but you have to make that time, and you have to find the time to add these other things into your life, including working out. Otherwise, the rest of it doesn't work out.
Exactly. And part of the stress that we're feeling is fear. Especially people that watch too much CNN, because the mainstream media is it's a profit center. They're there to make money. And so they know that when they get you in your fear state, you're going to buy the products their advertisers are putting on their station. And that's how they make money, for you to buy those products. So they're setting you up for the ads, and then you buy the stuff, and then they get paid. And so fear is the best way to do that. So that's why they're so centered in that. But the best escape from fear is gratitude. So you just, when you catch yourself in fear, turn off the TV. I threw my TV away in 2008, and I haven't looked back. I just love it. But turn it off, just unplug yourself from that stuff, and just go inside and just, what am I grateful for? And you might be in such a crummy state that you can't even think of anything. And that's okay. So then at that point, say the words, thank you. And you might even be sarcastic when you first say it, because you're in such a crummy state. And that's okay. Say it again, because your subconscious doesn't know. It's your subconscious hearing the words. And then pretty soon your subconscious is going to act on it. And then all of a sudden something is going to pop out that you're actually thankful for. And then now you can get that ball rolling, and it's a snowball. And then pretty soon you're happy, you're maybe even laughing, which is another great natural drug that we can release in our system from laughter. But gratitude is the antidote to fear.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of gratitude, so I hear that you actually have a complimentary session that you will give to people. I think I got one myself, actually. So. Tell me how do people go about getting a complimentary session with you?
Yes. So they just go to xgym.com, and then you'll see right on the homepage a little pop-up thing. It'll move and it'll say free session. And but it's over on the right side, and just click it. And then there's a form to fill out to do a trial workout. Because the reason we do that is we are very different from everyone else out there. So if you've never done XGym, you have a guarantee you've never done anything like what we're doing, because we invented it. So the first thing is to try it, because we're not for everybody, and we don't try to claim that we're for everybody.
Yeah.
We're for a certain kind of person. We're a niche business. And the only way to see if it's a fit for you is to try it. And then if it's not, great. Then I love to refer people elsewhere to other things. And got a lot of big network of friends, other gym owners, because in my opinion, we're all on the same team. You know, a lot of gym owners are, oh, competition and all this kind of stuff. But no, we're all on the same team trying to get people healthy. And
Yeah.
the sad thing is that 1 out of 3 gyms in this area is closed and done for good now.
Yeah.
And that's really sad, because my team just got smaller.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to refer people elsewhere to better fit if we're not a fit, because that's my mission, is just to get people healthy again. Our country really needs it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great reason right there, just to have a complimentary session with you guys, you know, to find out if that's not it, maybe there's something else, you know. So
There is always something. And if it's not us, we'll help you find it.
Yeah. And that is incredible. So in case it hasn't come through, I highly recommend PJ and his system as a great stress management tool that will ultimately help you and your business become better. So, but before we take off today, I do want to leave our listeners with our digital marketing tip of the day. So survey after survey, we have found that one of the top concerns for businesses today is lead generation. And an awesome solution for that is digital marketing. If you're finding this to be a stressful situation for your business, give me a call or find me online, and we'll set up a time for a complimentary discovery session. In addition to paid marketing, I have a ton of free resources that can help you get started. So let's chat and see what kind of marketing makes sense for you. Plus, it's always a treat for me to get to meet my listeners and to learn about your business. Who knows, maybe you'll even be a guest on my show. And speaking of which, a huge thanks to my guest, PJ Glassey, founder and owner of XGym, the home of the 21-minute workout. Find PJ and his complimentary session with him at xgym.com. Please make sure to follow us, subscribe, and like us wherever you get podcasts. You can find this episode and previous shows, along with contact information for all our guests and for me, on our website at www.digitalconnections.us. Have a great week, and tune in next time for another amazing digital connection for your business.